all of the electricity went out. I mean, everything. Lights, internet, everything. Computers, phones, all power was lost, but quickly restored. We are back. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. We got a lot to cover, and if you're just tuning in, this will be a short segment. We'll have a short bottom of the hour break for, traffic and weather and such in a couple of minutes, and then we'll be back, and we'll be back on schedule for the rest of the show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
I'm wondering how Obama must be feeling now when he said years ago that, what is President Trump going to have a magic wand? He can't fix anything. And he must be feeling pretty unsuccessful as a president. President Trump is accomplishing more than all the presidents combined, I think, what he's doing, man. This guy is the best. I guess it is when you're that successful in business, you expect to be successful.
Yeah.
And, man, here he is. He's doing everything. I can't believe it. I mean, even though the liberals are complaining already, like I said, that they think that they're going to bankrupt the European Union because of this.
I'm not worried about the European Union. They've been on the gravy train since 45. I mean, since the Marshall Plan at the end, after the war was over, they've been on this gravy train. And I understand that their entire continental economy is based around a business plan of exploiting and ripping off the United States. But that's over.
Yeah. That's over. Well, I mean, they're still going to do fine. They're still going to make money. They're not going to go bankrupt. It's ridiculous. There's just anything to say. Like you said it a million times, no matter what, if President Trump cures cancer, they'll complain about that.
That's right.
They just don't want to accept President
That's
Trump.
right.
I don't know why, how people are that stubborn that they can't finally say, I made a mistake. This guy's great. At least I like him. But man, oh man, it's what an accomplishment.
All right, I got to run, Doug. I appreciate the call. Now we had a complete power outage, and all of you that were on hold were disconnected when that happened. If you want to call back in, please do. We're going to take a quick break for the bottom for weather and traffic. We'll be back, and I'm going to jump right back into the issues. And I'm doing this now because I want to get us back on time after we lost power for a few minutes. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig, back after this. Okay, 30 seconds. That will be on track for the rest of the show. It was hot this morning. It was 82 when I left to get coffee this morning. So my guess is everyone's got their air conditioning on and it overloaded. It was like one of those quick... It wasn't my house. It was like the power company. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Okay, we're back on schedule, and we have electricity. Okay, if you're on hold, stand by. There's a lot has happened over the weekend. We spent the first hour celebrating this great trade deal, but there's been a lot of news coming, and President Trump said right before he got on the plane to Scotland on Friday that Barack Obama has immunity in the coup. So, and I know a lot of people are saying, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. President Trump says he has immunity. He's got immunity. Okay, we got to deal with what is. Okay, what Barack Obama did was wrong. It was treason. It was god awful what he did. I mean, we all agree with that. But President Trump said on Friday that he has immunity. So there's nothing. What can you do? Now there is talk of impeaching Obama. Okay. But what President Trump said, he said Obama has immunity, but those around him do not. And we're starting to hear a lot of things about people around him. And I want to start with, now this is somebody that's not around Obama, but was with the president, John Bolton. This guy, he's a Bush Republican. Trump fired him. And he spent the last few years on television trashing President Trump. And I believe he wrote a book about it too. And this guy, I mean, who goes around with a mustache like this, like it's the 1800s? Can you imagine how disgusting it must be to go out and have a meal with John Bolton? Everything's in that mustache. You know why he has a mustache like that? You know why? Why do you think John Bolton has a mustache like that? You know why? Look at me, look at me, look at me. He wants to stand out in a crowd. If you look like that, would you want to stand out in a crowd? But anyway, something's come out about Bolton. And, when Tulsi Gabbard released all these classified documents, and she had that press conference last week at the White House, one of those fake news reporters said to Tulsi Gabbard this: why didn't this come out during the first, if this is so important, why was this not released during Trump's first term? Now we know. John Bolton. Listen to this. This is the Gateway Pundit. And I'm going to read you this article from the Gateway Pundit about this because this is amazing. And even though John Bolton is not a part of the Obama regime, and he was fired by Trump, worked for Trump, hired by Trump briefly. He did work for Bush, too, if you remember. Wasn't he the UN ambassador for W? I think he was. It was a recess appointment. He may be one of the ones that finds himself facing some charges. Listen to this, Gateway Pundit. It is not surprising that leading neocon warmonger and former national security advisor John Bolton would rally around his deep state allies and trash Trump as DNI, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard turns the screws on those who manufactured the Russia hoax. As the Gateway Pundit's Jim Hoff reported, Tulsi Gabbard released her second batch of previously undisclosed documents Wednesday. These documents include more proof that Barack Obama directly gave the order to publish the Russia collusion hoax, knowing there was no proof to back it up. Page 3, now listen to this. Page 3 of this latest document drop shows that then President Obama ordered the release of documents. Knowing there was no evidence to back them up, Obama just didn't know about the Russia hoax. He directed it, all to delegitimize Trump and his historic win, right? Obama also helped cover up the blackmail Putin had on Hillary Clinton. Several deep state hacks, this is in the Gateway Pundit, and I did post this to X, guys. That's a big story here. Several deep state hacks affiliated with Obama also helped push the Russia hoax and are in hot water. And I've got some updates on that as the show goes on. One person who should be particularly concerned is former CIA Director John Brennan. Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper is already so worried he's lawyered up. Now John Bolton, should start sweating. Listen to this. Real Clear Politics investigators, there's a reporter by the name of Paul Sperry, he's very good, revealed that John Bolton had a classified memo in his possession So John Bolton, what we're talking about now, John Bolton had this memo in his possession that showed how former CI Director John Brennan helped manufacture intelligence linking Trump to Vladimir Putin. John Bolton never briefed President Trump on the matter. Instead, he took this and put it in a National Security Council safe. He hid the evidence of this while he was working for President Trump. Paul Sperry at Real Clear Politics says this: sources tell me in 2018, former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton received a classified memo summarizing the explosive report exposing how Brennan cooked up Putin-Trump intel. But John Bolton stuck it in a National Security Council safe and never briefed President Trump. Believing the Brennan intel was true. And we've seen him talking about this. And they go on here in the Gateway Pundit. Perhaps Tulsi Gabbard should also start looking at neocons like John Bolton from the first Trump administration. It would not be surprising to discover that he was not done in betraying the president then. This is really a massive story, and that alone, without question, would put John Bolton as a part of the Obama Russiagate coup conspiracy team. And when President Trump said on Friday, Obama has immunity. So that's just something we've got to accept, guys. Obama has immunity. President Trump said it. That's the way it is. Okay? That's the way it is. But President Trump said those around him do not. And now we've got this new story on Bolton that he actually, the nerve of this guy, he covered this up because he believed it. He hated Trump. In all these years, he's kept it secret and had it in some safe that somehow Tulsi Gabbard found. So Bill O'Reilly, who is a close personal friend of President Trump, in fact, I saw Bill O'Reilly the other day. He was talking, he got a phone call for Trump from the president. He says, you don't know when they're coming in advance. The phone just rings and it's the president. He was getting ready to go live on Fredo's show on News Nation, like in 30 seconds. President Trump called him the other night. And he said, Mr. President, I'm getting ready to go on in 30 seconds. And he called the president back. So Bill O'Reilly is in the know when it comes to the latest with what's going on with President Trump. And President Trump is letting certain people know, like Bill O'Reilly and a handful of others, what is actually going on with everything. I want to play this clip. This is Bill O'Reilly, and this is over the weekend.
Charges against John Brennan, the former CIA director, under Barack Obama, are very powerful. I believe Mr. Brennan will be indicted by the federal government.
You hear that? So Bill O'Reilly, who gets personal phone calls still to this day, regularly and unannounced from his close personal friend, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, telling us that he believes that Brennan's going to get indicted by Pam Bondi. That tells us that that's real. That is, we may not be able to get Obama. And the thing about Obama having immunity, in a way, that's a very good thing. The problems when it comes to this lawfare, obviously what Obama did was treason and all that. I get that. I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. And in a perfect world, he would be arrested, charged, and convicted of those crimes. But he has immunity, according to President Trump. So that we got to live in the real world. But if you think about it, in the long term, the presidents aren't the problems. Okay? It's the swamp, the deep state. There aren't that many presidents. So, yeah, exactly. There were not that many presidents. And most of them are controlled or a part of the deep state. So, in a way, Obama having immunity, it makes it easier to go after these others that don't, like Brennan, right? Because now that Obama's off the table, there would be a lot of distraction arresting a president of the United States, charging a president of the United States, especially a black President of the United States. It makes it easier for Pam Bondi to go after Brennan. And if Bill O'Reilly says he believes Brennan's going to be charged, I think that's almost certain to happen if he's saying that, because his sources are the President of the United States. So he's getting this information from President Trump and those closest to the president. So that means this is a real thing. If you want to drain the swamp and stop these things from happening in the future, it's the deep state guys you got to get. If people like Brennan get arrested and go to jail, people in the future in these positions will think twice before they do something like this because they don't want to go to prison like John Brennan did or whoever else. Now, this latest revelation on John Bolton, that would put him as a part of this conspiracy, by the way. And he really needs to be looked at for that because he was involved in was what he did covering that up in that briefing, was that illegal? I don't know. But I'll say this, when these indictments and arrests happen, we need to see Cash and Bongino be a little front and center with this, not just in the background, not saying anything. We need them involved in this. We need to see that they're doing something. And we truly need an arrest. And John Bolton would be a very good one to put on that list. But Brennan would be a great first arrest. He's got a lot to do with everything that's going on. And if we get the people around Obama, I think that's a win. Don't you? If you want to drain the swamp. We can't do anything about the immunity that Obama has. President Trump says he has immunity. He has immunity. Case closed. That's it. So, but it's also a good thing in that if Obama's as guilty as the day is long. However, arresting the first black president of the United States, the Democrats would use that to cause racial problems from coast to coast. And it would do things we wouldn't be able to recover from. They would start race riots in every blue city in America, and it would be never ending. And I went over earlier in the show before our power outage, before our brownout, that they're in a net negative of they're 30 points in the hole with approval rating, the Democrats. And if they get a blue city race riot going over Obama being arrested, these people like Brennan would have a very good chance of never facing consequences, and the Democrats could gain some support back. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our last break of the second hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Brian. Hey, is our thing this week? Okay. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Hold on. All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on this MAGA and brownout Monday morning. The countdown has begun. Our 10th annual Steve Kane, Brian Craig MAGA cruise is coming up in March. You're all invited. And on the line from Cruise and Travel Depot, we have Ian. Hey, Ian.
Hey, Brian. Good morning.
Great. Hey, I'm so excited. This cruise, and we're not going to, we don't have everything finalized yet, but we're working on a lot of new things. So those of you that have sailed with us before, Ian and I are doing some things differently than we've done on any of our past cruises, which is going to really enhance the experience beyond the spectacular experiences we already have. We have we've talked about this great shore excursion with the lobster lunch and everything we're doing. And there's another shore excursion we can't reveal yet unless you finalize it since we last spoke, Ian. But Ian's working on one of the greatest shore excursions we've ever discussed, which I'm very excited about. But we leave in March on the Celebrity Beyond. Can you tell people a little bit about the cruise? Where are we going, Ian?
We're going to the Bahamas, Tortola and the British Virgin Islands, and a new stop for us of Antigua.
Antigua, which I've never been to before. All the destinations are awesome. I'm very excited about Antigua. But, on this cruise, if you call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot at 561-244-5779, 561-244-5779, and you make your reservation and book now, you're going to be paying less than anybody else on the ship if you're in our group. But that's just for a limited time because you had blocked out a whole bunch of cabins, Ian, for our group, and they're almost gone. Can you tell people about that?
Yeah, 18 months ago, when I created this group, yes, we do it very much in advance. We secured some just absolutely amazing pricing, especially for the itinerary. And I can't get any more because when it's gone, it's gone. And we still have a few left, but
at these really low, the way the prices are so low. It's 2025. We're sailing in the beginning of 2026, but you're really getting 2019 pricing, pretty much.
Absolutely. I mean, our sailing on the Edge wasn't this cheap, and that was in 2020.
Yeah, and think about that. That was our last cruise before the lockdowns. And, so when we say you're getting 2019 prices on a 2026 cruise, that is not an exaggeration. Ian has a great relationship with Celebrity Cruise Line. This is our 10th year of doing this. And so we're getting a very good deal on this. So you want to call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot and lock in this low price. Now, we will have cabins available after this, but not at this low price. So you want to call in and make your reservation and lock in the 2019 price. And that's 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. When you call in, if you get his voicemail, leave your name and your number, and he will call you back. Is there anything else about the cruise I'm leaving out?
Well, those awesome rates also include the drinks and Wi-Fi. I mean, we know what those drinks cost just on their own. I mean, that alone is an amazing value.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, if you don't drink adult beverages, that drink package includes, unlimited sodas and bottled water and coffee and all of that. And, one thing I like. Yeah, exactly. I get the Avion in the glass bottles when we're on the cruise, and it's all included. And by the way, this 2019 pricing, once these cabins are gone, that 2019 pricing, there's no way for us to bring it back. And when you call Ian, he will give you the exact price over the phone. But pricing, when it comes to cruises, it factors in on so many variables. There's not like one set price. It depends on when you book, what cabin, where on the ship. There's all kinds of things that factor in. So call Ian today and join us. And when I tell you that we're changing things up in such an exciting way on this cruise, that is not an exaggeration. We always have a great time, but this one, because it's the 10th anniversary, we're elevating it a little bit. Now, the only problem with that is, once you elevate things, that then you got to top that the next time. but we're
every year.
Yeah, exactly. So we're elevating things to this incredible experience with these out of the world excursions, with this incredibly low 2019 pricing, because it is our 10th anniversary cruise. I can't believe we've been doing this 10 years. So again, give Ian a call, 561-244-5779, and we'll see you on the cruise. All right, Ian, we'll talk soon.
Take care. All the best.
All right, take care. Yeah, I really look forward to these cruises every year. It's my week vacation. You guys get to spend the vacation with me and Steve Kane. We're going to have a great time. Okay, so if you're just joining us, a lot is happening. So Bill O'Reilly, and he's reporting that John Brennan is going to be charged. That's it. I mean, that's it. Devin Nunes over the weekend was on Bartiromo on Fox and shared something that I've been telling you guys almost since the day it happened, because we learned about this right after. But Devin Nunes told Bartiromo, and he's an advisor to the president, over the weekend, that the break-in of Mar-a-Lago was to get the files that Tulsi Gabbard just released. They had believed that in Trump's safe at Mar-a-Lago, in his personal safe, he had these now declassified files that Tulsi Gabbard has declassified and put on her ex. So we have reached an entirely new level with this. And I want to say, don't get yourself in this losing mindset that, Obama has immunity. That's just the way it is, okay? President Trump said it. There's no way around. That's the way it is. We got to move into what we can get. And when Bill O'Reilly says that Brennan is going to be arrested and indicted, I think that you can take that 99% to the bank, considering that he regularly talks by phone to the president. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Gus, and I'm from Sunnyvale, California.
All right, Gus. What's on your mind?
Man, with all these Epstein files and MAGA, and I see you wearing a Trump 2028 thing. Do you want a Trump dictatorship?
No, we have elections in America.
Yeah. He's already run twice.
Yeah. No, he's run 3 times.
Okay, he's won twice.
And he could run again.
So you want him to run again?
I would like President Trump, personally, I would like President Trump to run again in 2028, 2032, 2036, and 2040.
Lifetime?
Yeah,
Okay.
In fact, I'd like him to run for the rest of his life. Absolutely. Why don't you like Trump? Calling me from this liberal paradise of California.
Okay, yeah. So, what I don't like about Trump. There's a lot to not like about Trump.
Really?
But the main thing, yeah.
What do you not like about Trump?
Tons.
What is there not to like about Trump?
Well, so there's plenty of stuff. This big, beautiful bill is the first thing.
Oh, you mean the big? Okay. This is interesting. The big, beautiful bill. What's wrong with the big, beautiful bill? What is there not to like?
Why do we need to spend $40 billion on ICE when they've been unaffected the entire time, even during the Obama administration?
They weren't being used. The reason we need they are the first line of defense on our southern border. That's why. And as somebody in California, you should understand that this country, it's been invasion USA for decades, and we don't have enough ICE agents.
Have you been to the southern border?
No.
You have not been to the southern border.
Why would I go to the southern border?
Southern border.
Why would I go to the southern border?
This is America. You're an American. You've never been throughout America?
I've been throughout America, yeah, but I don't go down to the border where all the cartel people are trafficking slaves and criminals. No, I don't go down. I don't go down to where the criminals are. But yeah, I've been to Mexico. I've been to South America. I've been to California. Yeah, I've been around. But you don't have to go to the southern border. But President Trump has shut down the southern border. Now, one illegal came across it last month.
Clearly not. You can come see the southern border for yourself. You've never seen it.
No, in fact, there was an illegal the other day was an Uber driver in Southern California. He missed his exit. He ended up in Mexico and he couldn't get back in.
Okay.
Yeah, but what's your real problem with Trump? Is it that he's a strong man and successful father figure? I mean, what's your real problem with him? Because you've never liked him.
First off, he's an 83-year-old man. Okay, so one of his first acts of presidency, he got 4 U.S. airmen killed off of bad intelligence. Okay, he ordered that.
He ordered what? What operation is that? He got them. Listen, I don't know.
Top secret operation.
I don't know. Top
it was
secret.
His very first.
If it's top secret, how do you know about it? Now you said okay, all right. First dump of the day. Oh my goodness. But you know what? It's time to do a spot anyway. That was a great time. That was a great lead in for me to do a spot. As we wait for the delay to re-engage, callers on hold, you stand by. What is it with liberals with the language? I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I was just talking to Ian about our cruise coming up. You know, when our last cruise was coming up, I met with Coastal Weight Loss Secret a month before the cruise. And when I went over there, Dr. Zuckerman said, well, what's your plan, Brian? What's your goal? And I said, well, we got our cruise coming up, our listener cruise. It's our 9th one, and I've gained some weight since the last one. I'd like to lose some weight. He said, when's the cruise? I said, well, it leaves in a month. He says, how much do you want to lose? I said, 25 pounds. Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, he said, no problem, Brian. And I kind of laughed. I said, it's a month away. He's like, yeah, it's not a problem. You'll lose it. Not only was Dr. Zuckerman right, I lost the weight in 3 weeks. I lost 25 pounds. I reached my goal in 3 weeks. By the time the cruise came around, I'd lost more than that. It's absolutely amazing. Now, I only want to lose 25 pounds. I lost over 35. I've maintained the weight now for the last couple of months. I haven't gained an ounce back. But if you want to lose 20 pounds or 200 pounds or 300 pounds or 100 pounds or 100, whatever you want to lose, how much or how little, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help. And they can also help you no matter where you're located in the country. We've had listeners from all over call them. Give them a call. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlasssecret.com. All right, callers on hold, you guys stand by. We'll come back to the phones and more after the break. And it's unfortunate that guy used the F-bomb because I wanted to talk to him about everything he brought up, but he couldn't control himself with the language. There's very few rules on this program, but one of them is you can't use profanity on the radio. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be back with your calls and Steve Kane after this. Hey, all right, you sound good. You sound cured. If something happens and you get disconnected, I'll call you back during the next break. After that, okay? All right, hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
I am here.
All right, we got 3 minutes. We'll be back. Oh, my goodness. Hold on a second. Everybody can hear you.
Okay.
I want to put you on hold for a second, Steve. Hold on. Okay, you there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
Okay. About 90 seconds. Oh, my goodness. Okay, less than a minute. We'll be back. Oh. Hour number 3 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio for a couple more days because August 1st begins the 49th year. And
wow.
I know, and Steve Kane joining us after a little bit of a hiatus because you were under the weather.
Yeah.
You
the
sound...
Monday Proof of Life show.
That's what I said, Steve, we got to get you back on. You know, we got to give a proof of life. You know, I don't want anybody to think I'm doing a weekend at Bernie's here, you know. But you sound like you're better today.
Yes, I feel a lot better.
Good, because I was talking to you over the weekend and you were sounding a little down, but you sound fine now. Well, a lot has happened, and the call is on hold. You guys hang in there. Steve and I haven't had a chance to talk about the issues too much lately, and there's a lot of things to cover. I mean, there's a few big things going on, but is there anything you in particular wanted to talk about?
No, I figure it's Monday. Let's figure out what's going to be cooking today.
Well, there's one thing I wanted to ask you about the other day, because I thought you were going to be here Friday, but you were still in recovery mode. But, you know, I got a call from a potty-mouthed liberal from California before the top of the hour. And, you know, I'm wearing a Trump 2028 hat, which I wear all the time now. And I love this hat because liberals, it just freaks them out. I mean, I was at the car dealership and a guy looking at cars confronted me. I mean, the people lose their minds over this. The liberals, just over the idea that Trump could run again in 2028, just freaks them out. But you told me the other day that the bookies in London, England, that they're taking bets on Trump running in 2028.
Yes, as a matter of fact, they are. And the astounding part about it is what has happened to the price since they opened their William Hill. William Hill's the big bookmaker in England.
Yeah.
And about a month ago, actually a little more, maybe six weeks, I just out of curiosity, when I was talking to my family in England, I said, why don't you check out and see what William Hill, if they have anything on the next presidential race. And they had Trump listed at 10-1 to win what is the next year that we have a presidential race?
2028, so 3.5 years.
2028. And there was actually a price. And William Hill is a major, is big or bigger than the operation they have going in Vegas. It's very reputable. worldwide. And so anyway, they had the price of Trump at 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Excuse me, 10 to 1. And then I called back last week, and it had dropped to 9 to 2. That's like just about half.
Now, I'm not a degenerate gambler, so I don't really know this. I know what 10 to 1 means.
What 9 to 2 is.
But what's the
right?
significant? That's you win 2 for every 9 you bet.
You win 9 to 2 is you bet 2, you win 9.
Oh my gosh!
Then
Really?
It's half.
Oh my goodness! I had it backwards.
And 5 to 1.
Oh my god! Wait a minute.
A lot of money came in.
Wait a
Trump.
minute. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness! You bet $2, you win 9,
shocking.
and it was 10 to 1. So that's a big price jump. That means
It dropped in half.
that means people are putting big money down on Trump running. That it's a
I mean,
thing.
somebody did. I have a feeling it came from one place.
Really?
That's just a feeling I have. But it's an astounding amount of money to move William Smith's number that much.
Hill. Yeah, it's a lot. It's
For
a big.
Richie is out there. Richie has. It hasn't been reflected from what I understand in Vegas. There's still no price in Vegas. Last I checked, which was the end of last week.
Yeah. Can you bet in Vegas though on the presidential races? I didn't know if that was legal.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah, but they say they're not open yet on this issue, but as you get closer, they'll be open.
But these bookmakers in England have been around since the times of whatever.
Yes.
So they go long. So they don't set things up unless it's a real line. They're not just.
Oh no, it's as reputable as they get. They're worldwide.
So you bet 2, you win 9.
Yes, it's halfway between 4 to 1 and 5 to 1.
Okay. Well, that sounds pretty darn good. So it's a lot more realistic than people want to admit, and it drives the liberals nuts, just the idea of it. Yeah. So I was talking before the top of the hour, and I wanted to recap this a little bit because this is really a big story. Before President Trump went to Scotland on Friday, he had a press conference out in front of the helicopter on the front lawn of the White House, and he said Obama's got immunity from all this coup stuff. Obama's got immunity, just like Trump's got. So that, but then, so we got to live with that. But then he says Obama's got immunity. He should thank me. He owes me for that. But the people around him do not.
That's correct.
And Bill O'Reilly does his show online now. And it's gotten really good and very, very relevant as of late. Because and I'll tell you why. President Trump.
He's mellowed out a lot, I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah, but President Trump, he's become a confidant of the president, and a couple things over the weekend. On Saturday, he was getting ready to go on Fredo's show, and he got a call. It was the president, 30 seconds before airtime, and he said, "I got to call you. I'm getting ready to go on the air and on Cuomo here in 30 seconds." And Trump said, "Okay, call me back." So we called him back. They had a long conversation, and then yesterday, Bill O'Reilly said his sources tell him. Now, his sources are President Trump and people directly connected to President Trump. His sources are tops. And the reason that his online show is becoming more common, more talked about, and more relevant is because President Trump is telling him things that he's getting out there. And
there's no question. It's amazing what's going on.
Yeah, and I played the clip, but I'll just tell you. I played the clip earlier in the show, but I'll just tell you. Bill O'Reilly said his sources, and keep in mind, his sources are Donald John Trump, okay? His sources are telling him that Brennan is going to be arrested and charged in this Obamagate, Russiagate
Couldn't have
conspiracy.
another nicer guy.
And I got to tell you, to me, getting Brennan and the people at that level is a much smarter move than going after. If they were to arrest the first black president of the United States, first of all, nobody's going to want to do that. Nobody in Washington is going to want to be in the history books arresting and prosecuting the first black president of the United States. They'll be in the history books forever with all the segregationists. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a bad visual, but the Democrats would start nationwide race riots with that if they arrested Obama. We know that. And going after Brennan and Clapper, you heard's already lawyered up. He gave an interview, Steve, on Thursday on MSNBC. Clapper, he's already got a lawyer, and and I saw Brennan on television twice since Tulsi Gabbard's press conference last week, and that arrogance is gone with him. He looks nervous. And here's the thing.
He's got good reason to be nervous, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. And when I hear
They all do.
Exactly. And when I hear Bill O'Reilly say, who I know talks to the president on a regular basis, okay, and is one of his closest friends, they used to go to baseball games together before he was president. When I hear Bill O'Reilly, and they did that national tour together in the Otto Penn administration time, when I hear Bill O'Reilly say, my sources are telling me John Brennan's going to be charged, I think you can 99% chance of that happening because his source is Donald Trump or people right there next to him. And now that they've taken Obama off the table, it's going to make it a lot easier to push those. You'll have the regular liberals defending Brennan and these creeps. But with Obama's prosecution being off the table because he has presidential immunity, it makes things a lot easier to go after these jerks who are the real problem makers.
Oh yeah.
Because no one is really going to go to the mat for Brennan or Clapper. For Obama, it would be a devastating thing in the country. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Lighthouse Medical and their neuropathy, and it's a good time to do that since you came back from your little medical issue. This is an amazing thing, Steve. This month, the month of July, it was 3 years ago that you went to Lighthouse Medical for their neuropathy treatment.
It's our 3-year anniversary.
And you've been neuropathy symptom-free for 3 years now. And I'll just tell you guys, I know you guys have heard me say this, but people that are living and suffering with neuropathy or those who love them, they know it is the worst. When they had all those Al-Qaeda and Gitmo, if they would have given them neuropathy, they would have sung like canaries. It's worse than the waterboarding. I mean, it's awful. And I don't think that you had it, Steve. It's not an it's torture, isn't it?
It's not just the pain. It affects everything in your body, like the balance, and it just turns your life, as you put it very well, into a living hell.
My great-grandmother...
boy, I'm sure glad you found these guys for me.
My great-grandmother used to fall all the time when I was a little kid, and she was always breaking her pelvis or this or that, and I didn't...
That's why.
She probably had neuropathy. She probably had neuropathy. Well, listen... You went to your primary doctor. He said there's no treatment. You went to a specialist, a neurologist. He said there's no treatment for neuropathy. We found Lighthouse Medical. They have a treatment for neuropathy, a treatment that works, and a treatment that lasts. We're 3 years in with Steve Kane here. It hasn't returned. Now we weren't thinking this far ahead because you were suffering so much. You just wanted the suffering to end. So you were just thinking about, I got to get rid of this today. This sucks. But 3 years later, it's not returned. Lighthouse Medical can help you no matter where you're located in the United States, by the way, not just local.
Well, the nice thing about it is the consultation is no charge.
If you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
That goes without saying.
Well, they can't do free consultations with just everybody all day. They wouldn't have time to treat patients. But for Steve Kane listeners, They do. Here's the number, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642, and online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Lighthousemedicalcenter.com. If you're on hold, hang in there. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve's back. I'm Brian. We'll be back after this. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, 90 seconds.
Do what?
90 seconds, we'll be back.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to some calls in a bit. So a lot's happening. You know, and they started something today, well, I guess yesterday, because we're processing it today. And the more I think about it, I think this is a bad idea. There's talking now, some Republicans, about impeaching Obama. I think we should Obama's got immunity. Leave him alone, because it's a distraction away from really sending people to jail. I don't know. What do you think? If they start going after Obama, the Democrats will start circling the wagons. I
agree. I think a lot of what's going on, while it becomes every day more evident that it's necessary, it's all a distraction from the positive program that the president is presenting and achieving.
Well, yeah, and then the other thing is that's really hot right now. Did you watch the events of yesterday in Scotland with this trade deal?
Yes.
You know, the King of Scotland, Donald Trump, at his resort. It was insane what happened. He had the press conference with I guess she's the commissioner of the European Union, not the president. They have a commissioner, whatever. He had this press conference, which I watched, and it was good. And then it was over, and I turned off everything, turned off the TV and everything. And then it seemed just like a few minutes later, they said they got a deal. They made a trade deal, that they announced the trade deal. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I just watched the press conference. Do I have some comprehension issues? Because I missed that. And they were there talking, and it was another press conference, but it was right after, in the same chairs, in the same clothes and everything. It was just a few minutes later. He made that deal like in 5 minutes after that first press conference.
Well, every day is like that now, don't you? I mean, basically what he's doing is educating the world day by day. He gives press conferences each day. At the end of the day, he's got a troop that consists of great communicators, most of them former Fox employees, and every day is carefully choreographed.
Yeah.
It's a choreographed lesson in what he's accomplishing.
Yeah.
And it's breathtaking. And what he's going to do is he's going to move on. He's going to find a couple more issues. The first two were the border and the economy.
Yes.
Those were the first two. He's reaching to the point where he's got them pretty well underway, the process of fixing them underway.
Yeah.
Now he's going to get two more issues, and he's going to do the same thing now that these are launched.
Yeah.
The first two.
It's amazing.
And it's an education. Every day you go to your television in the afternoon, and there's Donald Trump with his troop of merry educators.
Yeah.
Teaching the American public what's going on.
Yeah, and you know, this thing yesterday is like $1 trillion deal with the EU of their investment into the United States. It's like $1 trillion. And I saw yesterday afternoon the director of the White House Office of Management and Budget. That's a mouthful for me. The director of the White House Office of Management and Budget. He said that in Trump's first 6 months, he's generated enough revenue to pay off 1/3 of the debt of the United States in the first 6 months. 1/3 of the debt, which is crazy.
Exactly.
But this
people don't even realize it. It's going on them over a period of time because they're getting their daily education right on Fox TV every day.
Well, there's a media cover-up on most of this because that's why they're talking about Epstein all the time.
They can't cover it up because they can't control Fox.
Yeah.
And Fox is the source of educating the American public.
Well, when President Trump had the second press conference with the lady from the EU yesterday announcing the trade deal, and it's great, like $1 trillion investment in the United States overall with the military and with the energy and all this, 15% tariff both ways, which is huge because they had huge tariffs on the United States, huge tariffs. And a lot of these European nations are having strokes now. They're so ticked at her. They may run her out of office over this deal because they're so ticked. They've been ripping off the United States since 1945, and they didn't think it would ever end, the ripoff. But when they took Trump and the EU commissioner, they took questions, and one of the reporters asked this was in the second press conference after the deal was announced, and they asked the EU commissioner, they asked her this: what concessions did the United States make in this deal? And she said none. She says, we had a surplus, they had a trade deficit, so none. So Trump didn't make a single concession, which means he got everything he wanted and more, because we know that President Trump always asks for more than he wants. And that's huge. That was the big takeaway in this, other than it happened. But when they said, what concessions did the United States make? And she said none. I was like, whoa, what is it? And the EU, we're the largest economy in the world. The EU was the second largest economy in the world. That's why this is being called the biggest trade deal in history, because it literally is. I mean, I don't know how he did it, Steve, but it was a miracle.
Do you know what his next? Do you know what the next step is? The next issue he's going to tackle?
No.
I would bet almost anything in the world that the next issue he's going to, just from seeing the direction, because this is all carefully laid out and planned well in advance. I think his next big issue is going to be the national homeless problem. He's going to take that.
Oh,
I can tell by listening to the direction that his educative speeches are taking in the afternoon. He's starting to deal with the homeless issue.
Well, did you hear?
In England, he's starting to deal with the windmill issue.
Did you hear what he said about the homeless at the White House before he went to Scotland?
What did he say?
Oh, my goodness. This was unbelievable. Okay. So this was that same press conference where he said Obama's got immunity. It was out at the lawn at the White House, waiting to board Marine One on the way to Scotland. One of the reporters said, what's your comment on the homeless people outside the White House gate? And he says, where are they? And they told him the intersection outside the gate. And he says, well, we're going to remove them. And then and then he took some more questions, and then he went back to that reporter. What gate were they at? And they told him, he's like, oh, next to the Treasury Department. So he wanted to make sure that when he got on the helicopter, he could tell his guys, hey, go over there to that gate. And yes.
He fixed it while he was making the speech.
We're going to run him off. I was like, oh, my God. When does a president say that? I was hilarious. But when you say he's going to tackle the homeless crisis.
That's his whole MO. He's a doer.
What does that mean, though, tackle the homeless crisis? Open up the mental hospitals again? What does that mean?
Yes, that's exactly what it means.
Oh, great.
And then we're going to have to listen to the Democrats cry about how we're taking away their liberty and incarcerating them unfairly, and they're entitled to be sleeping in doorways. No sense in really and they don't want to take away their drugs because then they'll not be using the highest quality drugs. And then, you know the whole bit with legalization of all that crap.
You know, when homeless people go to the emergency room, do you know that all homeless people are allergic to all medications they dispense in the emergency rooms except narcotics? Did you know that? Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
No, I was in the ER once, and they with my wife, and they brought in a homeless guy. and the nurse was telling us, she said, all the homeless people, they come in and they all say they're allergic to all the medications except narcotics, so that we have to give them their narcotics. So whenever they run out of whatever it is they're taking, whatever pills they've been buying on the street, they go to the emergency room. Well, I'm allergic to everything except, I don't know what fentanyl. I don't know what they give. It's most homeless people are either mentally ill or criminals on the run, or both.
They're almost all mentally ill.
Yeah, exactly. What
what needs to be done is they need to be institutionalized and treated medically while they're in a stable setting.
Yeah, like they used to be. Do you remember the mental hospitals? I do. When I was a little kid.
Of course. Remember Willowbrook? Who do you associate with Willowbrook?
Geraldo Rivera gave us this whole crisis.
That's correct.
Geraldo Rivera is responsible. Geraldo Rivera became nationally famous on his Willowbrook was a mental institution in New York, and that was his first real big national thing. Geraldo, at least I think it was.
You've been around a long time.
Well, everybody knows about Willowbrook. I don't know if that happened before or after I was coherent, but I know the story. And he did this story on the mental patients at Willowbrook, and then they emptied out all the mental hospitals nationwide because of this story.
In Manhattan.
And every city in America. And when I was a little kid, I told you Columbus, Ohio is my hometown. So Columbus is the capital of Ohio. So the state mental hospital is right there downtown. It's on Broad Street. And when I was a little kid, I remember we would drive down the street, and every time you went by the mental hospital, everybody would slow down because they didn't have air. It was like Alligator Alcatraz. They didn't have central AC back then. It was the 70s. All the homeless people would hang out the windows. All the mental patients hang out the window and wave and yell at everybody driving by. It was kind of like an attraction, and you'd wave at the nutcases. But because they emptied out the mental hospitals, and that's how we gave birth to the homeless population as we know it today.
Yeah, that was the birth of homelessness.
Geraldo Rivera, he should be proud. Yeah. All right, listen, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour, and this is the Proof of Life Monday morning pro. Steve had been under the weather lately, so he's been off for a while. And so Steve's back today on this Monday morning edition of Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. I want to put you, Steve, on hold. The rest of you on hold, hang in there. We'll be back with Steve Kane and your calls after our bottom-of-the-hour break. Now, I want to tell you guys, if you want to get a good night's sleep, get yourself a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. You can get a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper with my promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, at MyPillow.com for 30% off. I've been sleeping on my MyPillow mattress topper, as has my wife next to me, for years. I get about 4 hours of sleep a night, between 4 and 5 hours, depending on what night of the week. What the MyPillow mattress topper does, it turns your entire bed into a big MyPillow. So that 4 to 5 hours of sleep I get every night is deep, well-rested sleep because of that mattress topper. It comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. It's machine washable and dryable, and it will change your life, let me tell you. When I was a kid growing up, and I know a lot of you are old enough to remember this, you used to be able to flip mattresses. Remember that? Remember the days when you could flip a mattress? You'd have a mattress, and then, for whatever reason, it got lumpy, lopsided or something, and you'd flip it over, and then it was like having a brand new mattress. Well, years ago, the mattress companies, they got real wise to that. You can't flip mattresses anymore. It's like a box spring underneath, right? So if you've got, and mattresses are expensive. If you have a lumpy, bumpy mattress, a lopsided mattress, or think you need a new mattress, go to MyPillow.com. Get your 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It comes in every mattress size there is. Use my promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, and get 30% off. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, KANE. All right, Steve, we got about 90 seconds.
Sounds good.
Oh, my goodness. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, Steve Kane, back today. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Do you want to take some calls, Steve? What do you want to do?
Let's do it.
All right. You know, this latest development with this trade, it's hard for anyone to take issue against what Trump has done. So I can't imagine any liberal is going to call in and disagree with it. How could you disagree with this trade deal? All right.
I don't think the liberals understand it. Despite the great educational efforts that are going on each day, put on by Fox, I don't think they've really absorbed fully what's going on around them.
Well,
other than that their world is collapsing.
Well, what happened, because you were out last week, what this is what the liberals are doing, Steve. They have no response, so what they do is they say the name Epstein, and they think if they say Epstein, which I consider that to be an SOS, that's a surrender. When I hear that word, it means surrender. But they tend to say Epstein. Why aren't we talking about Epstein? So that's their. We'll find out though. Maybe we'll have a liberal who will be honest and say, hey, I don't like the guy, but this is a pretty good deal. We'll find out. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. Okay. They're, I guess, trying to make us think they're listening to another show while they're really listening to us. Okay. Whatever. I don't even know. Any other program that's on the radio while the Steve Kane Show is on, that's a radio station's filler program. And they got to put something on. So. Oh, my goodness. All right. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Justin from West Palm.
Yeah, West Palm.
Hey, so regarding the Obama immunity, I don't know if this has been brought up before, but I think if he's proven to be involved, then he should have his secret security detail removed from him and his family.
But no, that's ridiculous. Donald Trump, the president, said on Friday, Barack Obama has presidential immunity. You can't charge him. He owes me a big favor for that, but the people around him do not. So, this world of should is not productive, and it's best not to go. Do you know what you understand what the Democrats would do if the first black president of the United States got arrested? I mean, come on. What would West Palm be like if the first black president got arrested?
If you really want to see on a sad side, you gotta tune in to what's the Rachel Maddow's channel? MSNBC.
MS13BC.
It is the most pathetic thing you can possibly imagine.
Really?
I mean, they're sitting they try to make a whole big campaign out of the Epstein thing, and there's no there. They're not going anywhere with the Epstein thing, but they sound like they're out of their minds. Mumbling about all this crap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go ahead, caller.
But it's entertaining.
I don't know about that. Go ahead, caller.
Well, no, I was just saying that. It doesn't really take an arrest. It's really an act of Congress to have that done. Why
would you? Why waste?
That's
why?
a slap on the wrist.
Why go after someone who has immunity with it? Nothing can be done when it's going to stop the prosecution of Brennan and the others. It's a good move not to go out. He has immunity. You can't touch him. So going after him or talking about him falls into their little game.
I just see it as a slap.
Absolutely.
On the wrist.
You don't think Trump knows what he's doing, caller?
Oh, yeah, we lost the caller, Steve. But I mean, if Trump was a white even if Obama was a white Democrat, it would be bad. But there's the CNN and the Wall Street Journal both have polls. They have two different polls on the Democrats' disapproval. Wall Street Journal has the Democrat Party's disapproval at -30. CNN is at -26 Democrat Party approval. You go out and you
Where do they got Trump at?
Oh, Trump's like 65 in the plus. He's got the highest numbers of anybody since FDR.
According up to what Trump has accomplished.
Exactly. So you go after Obama, who has complete immunity according to Donald Trump. Okay, this isn't me saying it. It's Donald Trump saying this, right? You go after the first black president who's a Democrat. It's going to make the Democrats more popular on top of the race riots they're going to start. And for what? It's for something that's not going to go anywhere. You know, if you really want to stop the lawfare problem, we need Brennan. And, you know, Peter Strzok, Steve, deleted all of his tweets. All of them I saw this morning. So that means he's nervous. So we got Clapper, who's lawyered up. If you've seen Brennan on MSNBC, Steve, he does not look, he looks like he's in a panic. And Bill O'Reilly says Brennan's going to be arrested. Peter Strzok deleted all of his tweets. That means he's nervous. None of those prosecutions would happen if you impeach Obama or try to arrest Obama. It's
not even worth thinking about.
No.
All you have to do is listen to Trump as the leader of the thing. He knows what he's doing. When he makes a big thing about forget about Obama, you can forget about Obama.
That's right.
It's kind of, you're right on the money with it.
And what I expect is I expect us to, I'm not saying this is true of the last caller, okay? I'm not saying this of the last caller. But I'm expecting to hear callers that are fake Republican callers trying to get us to start talking about going after. The Democrats want us to go after Obama because they know how it would help them. They're desperate. All they got is AOC and Jasmine Crockett.
But the more we talk about it, the more time we're wasting.
Exactly.
We should focus on what matters.
Brennan, arresting Brennan. I would, Steve,
yes.
we would have we would be partying on this show. You know, he's a Muslim, Brennan, and he speaks fluent Arabic. A lot of people don't know that, but he does.
I never knew that.
Yeah, he doesn't look like Muslim, but he is. All right, let's take another call or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, Sal from Margate. Listen, there's no immunity for treason. That's number one. Number two, I think if they have immunity, it's for presidential duties. That's not a presidential duty.
Okay, now this is interesting. What did you say your name is? Sal from where?
Sal from Margate.
Sal from Margate. There was a guy. Okay, there was a guy on Friday I was listening to. Don from D.C. Do you know who that is? Don from D.C.
No.
Don from D.C.
No, I don't.
Donald Trump, the 45th and 47th president of the United States.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I know he
Don
said that.
Don from D.C. said Obama has immunity, and he owes me a favor for that. So that's the way it is.
Well, let me just respond. I think he said that because you can look it up. You can see I'm correct. I looked it up. I think he gave him a pass.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, because he don't want to have the first black president. Blah blah blah. But he knows because if you look it up and you see that there's no immunity for treason.
Sal, listen.
But
What would happen?
Trump can do what he wants.
What would happen if the first black president got arrested? What would the Democrats and Soros do with that?
They'd make a race riot.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes, and
yes.
yes.
Why are we wasting time talking about it?
Oh, listen to this. Listen to this. Sal, you're in Broward County. You live in Broward County too, Steve,
yes.
right? Oh.
Yes.
Ron DeSantis, who betrayed us and betrayed Trump. Did you hear what Ron DeSantis said about Broward County, Steve?
No.
Oh, boy, this is awesome. Listen to this. He said this the other day. Ron DeSantis has his own version of Doge here for Florida. They're gonna audit all 67 counties of Florida, but he said Broward's the most corrupt, and they're starting with Broward County. So Broward, they're going to audit Broward County. It's the first one to get audited, and Broward County is more corrupt than Cook County, which is where Chicago is, by the way.
I agree with that.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That's the best.
Remember the woman that was in charge of the voting? I forget her name. She was another corrupt.
They're all corrupt.
You know
If they're elected to office in Broward County, they're corrupt. There are only two people that I know of.
What's the name of the lady he's talking about?
Miriam Oliphant.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell I'm going to tell you why he's doing this, DeSantis, because he mentioned a week ago or a month ago he's going to try to make property taxes disappear.
That's right.
I believe he knows there's so much wasted money. If he finds it, he can do it, and he's going to go for the Senate.
He said Broward's, we have 67 counties in Florida. He said Broward's the most corrupt, and they're starting the audit there. The only people from Broward County that are not corrupt that have held office, 2 of them are dead, and 1 of them doesn't hold office. Fort Lauderdale Mayor Jim Noggle, who's still with us, Republican Congressman who used to be the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, E. Clay Shaw, and my favorite, the late, great Sheriff Nick Navarro. Other than those 3,
without a doubt.
Other than those 3, anyone else who's ever held office in Broward County is corrupt. And let me tell you, when DeSantis said that the other day, Steve, people have got to be in a panic in Broward County. I don't mean people in office today. I'm talking about people that have been that are office today and for the last 15 or 20 years. I can't wait. Listen, we got to run.
I totally agree. All right, great show. Keep up the good work.
All right, take care. Steve, when that audit starts and they come out with that, I'm going to follow that daily. I don't live in Broward County, thankfully. I got out of there, but that's going to be Florida is a deep red state, but we got 3 counties that aren't, right? Orange County, where Orlando is, Palm Beach County, where Mar-a-Lago is, but the big stronghold is Broward County. That's the big one. All right. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve, and we'll be back with the Gold Report. Hey there, hold on. Steve, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got 1 minute. Hold on. I got to conference William in a minute. Hold on. All right, I'm going to conference William in, so hold on, Steve. All right, William, we have 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Steve back with us today, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with our first look at gold, silver, and the other precious metals for the week. William Youngerman, how are the metals starting off this week?
Metals starting off a little bit lower after Friday's lower close also. Some profit-taking during last week's trading sessions, and gold closed out the week at $3,336 on Friday. That was down $31 after trading in a range of $3,323 to $3,374. Silver was down 91 cents. Big pullback on silver, but we've had a big run up also, getting up almost to $40 last week, and then closing at $38.08 the ounce, down 91 cents on Friday. Platinum down $7 on Friday, closing out at $1,402, and palladium lost $17 at $12.15. Overnight, we've seen gold trade in a range of $3,321 on the low and $3,344 on the high. And right now, we're at $33.26. That's down $10 on gold. Silver's down 8 cents at $38 the ounce. Platinum is unchanged at $1,402. And palladium right now, the only gainer is up $17 at $1,232 the ounce, and it has been higher from there this morning. But that's pretty much where we're opening up. So still a good buying opportunity on the lower end of our trading ranges.
Absolutely. You know, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. And, of course, no matter where people are located, William Youngerman, they can do their transactions over the phone and through the mail with you. Can you tell people how that works?
Sure. You just simply call our 800 number and lock in the price of gold, silver, platinum, whatever you're looking to buy, and wire the funds to us, and the product goes out the same day or the very next day to you, fully insured. So it's very, very easy to transact through the mail also. I also want to remind everybody that we have a foreign exchange department that trades over 60 different foreign currencies, that if you're traveling anywhere this summer and you need some euros or British pounds or dong or Iraqi dinar, anything, we have 60 different currencies and many of them in stock. So give us a call on that also. Or if you're coming back, you can sell them back to us.
Yeah, you know, and when I stop in at your shop, I see a lot of people there for the currency exchange. And a lot of times I think people, you have some money at home that you have left over from a trip, go take it to William Youngerman's, turn it into USD or maybe gold or silver while you're at it. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. His number is toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building just east of US 1 Federal Highway. And you can find both William Youngerman's address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, we're back. You back with us, Steve?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's take another call or two. See what we got. Calls have been okay today. The liberals have been in hibernation. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Steve and Brian. It's good to have you back, Steve.
Nice to be back.
It's JJ from Mass. You had spoken just a week or so ago about the death throes. You actually had a quite descriptive, of what the death throes are, and I think that those bodies, they need a grave site, and right now we're just deciding, how deep to dig the grave.
What are you talking about? Did I miss something? What are you?
Well, I'm talking about the Democrat Party. And
okay.
Obama and all these arrests.
Sounded like a scene out of Goodfellas or something.
Yeah. No, it's just they need a place to be buried, and I'm thinking, it's just one disaster after another for them, and one.
Well, I'll tell you, you know what the reality is? There aren't that many Democrats anymore. If you think about it,
they're going extinct.
Yeah, they really are. We're seeing the death of a political party. Literally, I mean, there really are not that many.
Yeah, and when there were, and I think part of when they supposedly did have a lot of Democrats, I think a lot of it was just the 1-2% of the media pumping, 100% of the media really pumping up the Democrat Party to this behemoth, which it never was. And I think, like you've talked a little bit about Obama today, and I don't think there's no way we should arrest that guy. Mm-mm. I mean, we don't want martyr status for him, and the cat's out of the bag anyway. The Democrats are all scratched up. We need him as more of a.
Now, with that being said, I would not be opposed to an audit of his presidential library. That construction project has been going on for about a decade, and did you see what they've built so far in the news?
It looked like something out of a bad sci-fi movie. Really.
It does. It looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like the world of Terminator that Reese left to come back in time and stop from happening is what it looked like. I mean, and they've spent, I don't know, like $1 quadrillion on this thing. They should audit that and find out where that money's gone.
It kind of looks like the Democrat Party. It does not look like it's in too good a shape.
Well, see, the thing is, what we're saying is true, and you got to be very. There's a few rules of thumb that I use, and one of them is choose your battles, right?
Yeah.
And you got to really choose the battles with what's going on here, because to go after Obama would just be bad news.
Big mistake.
Brian, let me ask the caller a question. My prediction is that Obama is going to end up trying to run for the next presidential term. No, excuse me, not Obama. Sorry about that. I'm talking about Trump. Do you agree or disagree with that? Like, I see everything. I mean, I think it's been carefully worked out, everything way in advance. And I think that's the plan, to give them new fields to conquer, starting with homelessness.
The odds, and you guys talking about gambling and the odds in London, it is. I mean, it's 100% possible, is what I'll say. Do I believe? And I would love to see it happen. I really would. I just don't know if it will. I think
it's been pre-planned. I think it's all.
I think it could be, but I think Steve, in 6 months, he's done more in 6 months than like the last. It's just amazing. We are living through history. The economy is going to be something that 100 years from now, or quite honestly, 50 years from now, they're going to be teaching. Economics is going to be based off of what Donald Trump has done.
And what we watch every day is an educational campaign that the Trump people are presenting for us. Every day I sit in around 4 or 5 o'clock, the Trump show starts, and usually it starts with an interview with Trump or one of the higher-ups in his campaign, and they discuss the issues of the day, focusing on what the current events are. And I think it's all in the cards. I think it's pre-planned.
Well, I'll say this: he's sort of the he's the classic Coke before there was classic. If Coca-Cola had new Coke to start with, Trump would be the classic Coke. It's almost like a marketing education. People are going to be. I mean, he's the guy that they're going to be quoting him for the next 100, 200 years. I mean, we're living through it. It just hasn't happened 100% yet. But I see the explosion economically. It's just people talking. There are people talking about tariffs that can't operate a friggin' toaster.
Yeah.
What's going on is amazing, and it's not really even reflected yet in the polls.
No, and the polls are so unbelievably good for us. Even when the people who want Trump to do horribly, when those people start putting out polls that are good, we know it's even better than we think it is. I mean, they're agreeing with him on. I've seen some of those people actually agree with Trump, and they hated him. 6 months ago they hated him. Now they're like, well, gee, he's right. And it's I never thought I would see that from the CNNs, but they revert back to their stupidity. But there's cracks in the armor. We're getting some sunlight in.
Well, listen, we got to run, but I appreciate the call. Now, I want to tell you, you haven't seen me in person in a little while, Steve, and I'm a lot less of a man than I used to be, thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And, today I'm wearing I'm wearing a t-shirt. I wear t-shirts mostly, but I'm wearing one of the new t-shirts I got since my weight loss. And it's so nice. I mean, my stomach is flat. I'm back to the weight I was when I got married, which will be 29 years ago in December. And it's nice to be smaller. You know what I mean? I got my chin back. I got a square jaw now. The belly's gone. I can look down, and my shirt I got a tight fitting shirt on, and it fits nice. It's really amazing. And I was starting to get a little bit of a belly, and you get a little older. That's life, and it doesn't have to be that way. It's not life. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Steve, we've had listeners from all over the United States call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and lose weight. It was amazing. I heard from a lady the other day from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and there have been people in other states around the country as well. So no matter where you are, they can help you. I lost a little more than 35 pounds, which was more than 10 pounds my goal. But if you want to lose 20 pounds or you want to lose 320 pounds or anywhere in between, they can help. Here's the number. Give them, when you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. What you said about the afternoon with Trump, this is true. And the reason that is, Steve, is he understands the news, right?
Well, he's creating it. Of course he understands it.
Well, Well, what
He
I mean
creates
is,
it every day. It's all a carefully. That's the whole thing I'm trying to get people to see. It's a meticulously detailed, worked out plan that he's got, and it unfolds each and every day, starting in the afternoon with that new guy who I like so much, who comes on at 3:00. Well,
Kane.
What's the name of the guy?
Because you got the same name.
Oh, no
yeah,
wonder I like
Will
him so
Kane.
much.
That's why you like him. Will Kane. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very good, by the way. Very, very good.
He is good.
And he's married to the prettiest of all the gorgeous Fox girls. Will Kane is married to the prettiest.
What? Who's he married to? I didn't know he was married to a Fox girl.
I'm trying to remember her name. If somebody has that, give us a call.
Well, listen, we only have about 5 seconds left, so I can't finish my thought. I'll have to tell you guys tomorrow. But it's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Steve is back, and well, you sound recovered. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Take care. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you're new, make